Good afternoon. I am honored to be here in New York City on the threshold of the 20th anniversary of 9/11. It is deeply meaningful to all of us who are here today, and Commissioner Shea, thank you very much for hosting us. We in the Department of Homeland Security, 250,000 individuals across the country and around the world, work to honor the individuals whose lives were lost on 9/11 and thereafter as a result of the tragic and terrible terrorist attacks of that day. I want to thank the mayor as well and Governor Hochul for being here and their presence and all of our presence together, from Commissioner Shea of the New York City Police Department to state and city leadership, as well as the federal government. We send together a very important message, and it is an important message of partnership. As we stand here today, 20 years after the 9/11 attacks, we stand stronger and safer as a country, and we do so because of the partnership that we have built over those many years. We share information, we share and provide equipment, expertise, and talent and dedication towards a common goal: the safety and security of the American people. I'm very proud to be a part of that partnership and to stand with all of the tremendous leaders here who share that mission and who share that goal. It is my privilege to introduce to all of you Governor Hochul.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for traveling here for this weekend to share with us this occasion. The weather here today just reminds us of what it was like exactly 20 years ago, a spectacular day of bright blue skies, a day of great possibilities. And we all know what happened when the terrorists decided to threaten New York City, because we are the beacon of freedom. We are the place that has the Statue of Liberty in our harbor. So we continue to be a threat to all freedom-hating individuals around the world, and we're aware of that. And that is why your presence here today signals the cooperation which has been ongoing for years and years. And I thank you for your leadership, as well as the leadership of the entire Obama administration. I'm also here to lend support to our mayor's efforts and the incredible NYPD, and to let them know that we are ushering in a new era of collaboration. And I believe that that is going to give our mutual constituents, the city of New York and throughout the state of New York, a sense of confidence that we will leave no stone unturned to protect the individuals we have pledged to represent. So it was important that I come here in person to thank the leadership, to thank commissioners, the individuals who are working round the clock to identify and potentially thwart any threats that could be, perhaps because we're a vulnerable weekend. We have identified this as a vulnerable weekend. But I stand here after having a very detailed briefing, and I thank the analysts and the individuals. Again, they work unseen heroes. They're in buildings like these all over in cooperation with our state police and our state resources to make sure that people can sleep better tonight and the next night and the next night. That's what this is all about. I just want to alert New Yorkers, you will see increased presence. We've deployed more resources for the Port Authority, the MTA. You'll see more people. You'll see individuals with long arms. You'll see them looking a little bit militarized. But the idea is to let anyone know that you mess with New York, there'll be consequences. And I want to let them know that we feel very confident at this very moment, after assessing our threats, that we'll be able to handle the events of this weekend and welcome people from around the world to come to this place of reflection, to think about what it means and how New York came back after that horrific day, those horrific events. 20 years later, we never forget, but we go forth into the future, steeled in the conviction that yes, we were knocked down, but we are never out. Whether it's a terrorist attack, whether it's the pandemic, don't bet against New Yorkers. And Mayor de Blasio, I thank you for the leadership you continue to show, the partnership, the hand you've reached out to me since the infancy of my administration, which is now 2.5 weeks old. And I know there's much more we can do together. So thank you, and to your incredible team.
Thank you so much, Governor. Governor, you're right that this time of year, all of us who live through this, we see a beautiful September morning and we feel that pull at our hearts. And we all remember that morning. You're right, it started with promise. And then our world's changed and so many were lost. And I at this moment, I'm feeling those who are lost. I remember the hours, days after, every neighborhood, my neighborhood in Brooklyn, a firefighter lived just walking distance from me who I knew, lost that day, who had gone back into work even though his shift was over because he wanted to save lives. We lost the daughter of my son's pre-K teacher at a school in our neighborhood. We lost the son of one of the union leaders who I worked with closely in the fire department. We lost so many people. It's personal for us. And 20 years later, we feel it just as sharply, which is why we are resolved. We say never again. We're resolved to ensure that terrorists never can perpetrate such an act in this city again, which is why in the months and years after 9/11, this city took it upon ourselves to protect ourselves and built up an extraordinary counterterrorism capacity. But what was really necessary was the partnership the governor talks about, and that also developed, especially in recent years, with our federal and state partners, and that has made a profound difference. So, Mr. Secretary, thank you. Your partnership and the partnership of all federal agencies is one of the reasons we are safe. Governor, thank you. Your leadership and your agencies working seamlessly with the NYPD. And I want to affirm at this hour, the most important thing I can say to all New Yorkers, there are no specific and credible threats directed against New York City at this time. And the NYPD is watching, not daily, not hourly, minute by minute, with extraordinary intelligence gathering and counterterrorism capacity, which we have built up in recent years, because even though it's 20 years later, we see threats all over this world directed at us. And we see challenges that are homegrown as well. So we are watching, the NYPD is watching constantly. And I would say to anyone who's concerned about striking the right balance, we all want to strike that balance in our society to make sure our rights, our liberties are protected at all times, but we also have a mission to protect the lives of every single New Yorker, and the threats are real. They are real and they are consistent, which is why we have to be vigilant. So I'll turn to Commissioner Shea in a moment, but just I want everyone to understand. You will see, the governor is exactly right. You're going to see a lot of presence, but not just at Ground Zero. I want to emphasize this to everyone who is listening. You're going to see presence all over the city. We do not regard Ground Zero as the only potential target tomorrow. We are going to protect the entire city. Again, no specific incredible threats directed against New York City at this time. Massive resources will be deployed to protect all New Yorkers and our visitors. And we are watching constantly. We've learned some powerful and painful lessons. But one thing I want to say as I introduce Commissioner Shea is the NYPD has shown us time and time again its amazing ability to protect New Yorkers, to sense where the danger is, to get there first, to stop the threats before they happen. And I want to thank all the men and women of the NYPD for what they have done for all of us. This is a day to remember their immense contributions. With that, Commissioner Shea.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and you took my opening line a couple times, and that is correct. There are no specific incredible threats to New York City. But we also understand the time that we're living in, and I join the mayor in thanking the governor and thanking the secretary for coming here and lending support, and to stand united that we will do everything possible to protect New Yorkers, and that's really the most important message of the day. Men and women of the police department will be out there not just this weekend, but every day, and that goes from the analysts such as the brilliant analyst that just gave us a presentation upstairs, but to the civilian members of this department, to the police officer on the beat, whether it's at Ground Zero or Brownsville, Brooklyn, and certainly our counterterrorism assets. So we will be out there not just today, not just this weekend, but every day to make sure that New Yorkers are safe. The message is, it's a beautiful weekend. Come out, enjoy, and I'll leave you with this. We have a saying in the police department to never forget. It's hard to believe that it's been almost 20 years from that day. I can tell you that it would be impossible to forget. We're reminded of every time we walk out the front door of this building, when we see a plaque on the wall. We're reminded of it every single day when we think of our 23 heroes that passed away that day and the hundreds that have passed away since. If anything, that strengthens our resolve. So please keep them and their families in your thoughts and prayers. God bless America.